Hi everyone, it's Jill from Glimmerbug Art Studio, glimmerbug.com, and today I wanted to share with you a process video of a project that I just finished up for a swap that I'm doing in our Just Add Art Facebook art group, where we swap a bunch of Happy Mail and themed projects and that kind of thing. So today this project is a single journal page, meaning you take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I use a thicker piece, like a cover stock piece, and you cover both sides of it with whatever you want. I decided to bash my stash and use up a bunch of papers that I had already in my scrap box, so that I could put those to some good use, because those seem to collect quite a bit. And I'm going to do the first page, or the front of it, with some collage using this tissue paper that I got from the local farmers market place down the street last season. As you can probably tell, it's an actual apple orchard, so yeah, I thought the apple tissue was kind of cute, and I had a bunch of it, so I thought, well, that's kind of neat to have. So yeah, I just grabbed some gel medium and put it down on the page. Tissue can be hard because it's so flimsy and it's so easily rippable, so I tend to put the glue down first and then lay the tissue over it, and then carefully using, I have an old gift card there, patting it down, and then I blast it with my heat gun to just give it a little bit of a harder drying area to it, so that I can still work with it. But to me, it's better to let gel medium dry on its own rather than heat gun, because then it starts to bubble, and I don't know, it's just kind of not my thing. So then I, going through my box, and I find this pretty napkin that I got, and I said, because it's spring, almost anyway, and I was just out earlier today, and there are about 75 robins in my yard, and I saw a bunch of blue jays and all sorts of little birdies out, so I thought, oh, this is kind of a spring theme. So March, first month with spring in it, so let's make that our little theme moving forward. And kind of like the tissue, using a napkin is even harder because it is super, super delicate. So again, I put the gel medium down, and then I carefully slide the card over it. Some people use like they tamp it down, but that never really works for me. So, but after I let it dry for a few hours, I came back and I did some mark making, which I love to do mark making because it's just kind of cathartic, and you don't really have to have a plan, and it adds interest. So as you can see, I started off with just acrylic paint, white and with black, and now I'm using my gold leaf pen, which I love this pen, but I can never get it to work other than just dotting with it. I'd love to use it for edging things, but for some reason this pen, I just cannot get enough of a juicy tip to do that. So I usually just use it for adding dots to my artwork here and there, and gives it a little bit of a shine and a shimmer, but what can you do? So in between each layer, I hit it with the heat gun, because that way I'm not having my hands make a mess out of wet paint, which I tend to do if I'm working too fast, or I get distracted and forget, and then I slide my hand across something and smudge it. So I always use my heat gun to just give it a little bit of a blast. And then I bring out the good old jelly pens. And these gel pens, I love these. They're about 1 million years old. I think I got them, let's see, we've moved twice, so I would say maybe they're 10 years old. They're the Jelly Roll gel pens, and They're pretty much done for. There's not a lot of ink left in them, but I'm using them until I can no longer use them because I love them. So I love adding these. They add a little bit of shine and shimmer to anything you're working on. And I make little marks with them. I do little X's and squares and triangles and swirls and circles and diamonds and all that kind of stuff to give added interest to the background. And it makes it just have a little extra something to it. So now I'm using my Copic marker, my black one, that I constantly refill with my refillable ink because I love this marker. And again, I love to dot. I dot pretty much anything in my artwork except for some of my paintings, or actually most of my paintings. I love using black and white. I just think it's striking and it makes things pop from the background, so I usually add dots or stripes, and today I decided to use dots, black dots. If you keep hearing a beep, it's my phone letting me know how many more people have gotten the coronavirus, which is spreading scarily throughout the country and the world. So if you hear the beep beep, that's just my phone letting me know. And that's just my little pug barking at traffic. So anyway, back to what we're doing. So ignore her, that's just Rosemary. I also use the permanent markers to make X's and little kind of things to add visual interest as well. So now that the other side is dry, I'm going to work on side 2. So once again, you see me, I'll lay down the gel medium using my Bed Bath & Beyond gift card that has expired. So I never throw away my gift cards because I can always use them to spread some sort of medium. And I have a whole grouping of them used just for that. So hotel key cards and the whole bit, I keep them. So now I'm just going to, again, hit my paper box and look at my scraps and see what I've got. And the Don't Worry, Be Happy was from a calendar that I got probably 5 years ago. And it was really cute. It was all sorts of forest creatures, and it was like a kind of a mixed media thing, and it had all little positive messages, and it was so cute. And my 10-year-old loves to do collage, so she's used up pretty much all of that calendar, so this was one of the things that was left over, and so I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. And I added in more of my little apple tissue, and then I was going through my stamp drawer, and I had hand carved this stamp quite some time ago on like the back of an eraser or something from the Dollar Tree. I can't even remember. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that because I haven't used that very often on really anything, and I like how it turned out. It's definitely very novice because I am not a stamp carver. I'm just not good at it, but it was fun. I remember having fun doing it, and it's definitely unique and one of a kind, so why not add that in? And like I was saying before, I have to heat blast, otherwise I smudge the hell out of everything that I do. So, and this ink pad that I was using was super juicy, so the ink was not drying as quickly as I would have liked it to. What am I doing here? Oh, so here I am trimming down the sides of the piece with the extra overhang from what I had glued on to the sheet so that I can keep it at the 8.5 by 11. So the journal pages that we do, we swap them monthly with another member, and it's just an 8.5 by 11 sheet folded in half, and then off it goes on its merry little way. And by the end of this, I don't even know if we have an end date because we've been doing this for probably close to a year. So I would say I don't think we do have an end date. We'll just keep adding. So I think I should probably bind this somehow once I collect all of them together, which I have them all in a box in my art studio. So that might be something that I do later on to show and share what I ended up doing with them. But anyhow, Again, I love doing the dots with white. Most of the time I use black and white, like I had said before, but this one, after I dried it, I was like, geez, you know what, I have the black on the stamps, and that's, I think if I add black to the centers, that's going to be a little too much black. So I was like hemming and hawing, and what should I do? Which color should I do? I wanted it to be kind of bright and happy, so I said, I know, I'll go through my paint markers, and I found a box of paint markers that I had that are fluorescent colors, and I decided to use the fluorescent reddish orange one because I thought that kind of tied in with the colors from the apples, and that makes it a little bit more cohesive. So I like the way it came out, and I wasn't careful about making perfect circles because I don't like things that are all perfect and fabulous and that kind of thing. I like it to be quirky and whimsical, and color to me is just the most important part of anything. So that's why I decided to go with the brights for that. And God, I've had these markers for forever and a day. So I think my husband got them for me probably like 5 or so years ago. And it's funny, the stuff that you forget that's in your stash until you go through, or like where we just moved a year ago, I forgot I had them, and I'd put them away in my art studio, and I was like, oh my God, I have them, and I forgot I had them. So cool find. But I also have a like a spinny rack on my desk where I keep like my gel pens and my black markers and that kind of thing, and my paintbrushes. So the gel pens are always like at the ready for me to use for my doodling and that kind of thing, which is what I decided to do here. Again, I'm just doing like little X's, little circles, little squares, little triangles. Raindrops are good ideas to use. Sometimes I like to do patterns that look kind of like river rock, where they're wonky looking, circly looking things that don't connect, but they are kind of a cool little pattern. So I like to do that. I love to do dashes, lines, really anything. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong. Sometimes I'll even go with using just the tip of the Copic marker, because the chisel tip part, because that really has kind of a neat shape. Or if you drag it a little bit, it makes a nice little wonky square. So I tend to use that kind of stuff too. Realizing that I didn't use any stencils in this, but that's okay, because there'll always be another one that I can use a stencil in. I always do the edges of my pieces in black ink, so I just kind of rub it along the edges to kind of pop the center and make it look pretty. And yeah, I love how it came out, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you would like and subscribe, that would be fantastic, or leave me a comment and hop over to my blog at glimmerbug.com and say hello, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.